Welcome to a journey back in time, a time when the 1970s dictated the rhythm of life. Picture this: Popology, the pioneer in the culture ministry industry, is your guide on this nostalgic journey. For the young Popologist ambassadors of today, there are some things uniquely 70s that will always hold a special place in the hearts of those who lived it. Each era indeed has a distinct style that transcends time, becoming recognizable even to newer generations. The 1970s, it was more than just the disco beats and bell-bottom trends. There were subtle details, minute elements that only those who lived during that time would easily recognize. So we present to you a most popological snapshot from the 1970s, a slice of life that you, the youth of today, might find utterly fascinating. Here's to understanding a bygone era and appreciating the charm of the 1970s. Welcome to this popological journey.
Imagine a world with only 3 TV channels, a time when your TV screen was visited by just 3 networks. No endless scrolling, no instant playbacks. It was a simpler time when the anticipation for your favourite shows was a significant part of the viewing experience. Remember the thrill of waiting for Saturday morning cartoons, a big bowl of cereal in hand, eyes glued to the screen, soaking in every moment because there was no watch it later.
No Netflix, no Hulu, no Disney+. The television landscape was a lot less crowded, and the shows, well, they had to be top-notch, because when you're one of only a few games in town, mediocrity doesn't cut it.
Now let's take a sonic leap to the artistry of creating mixtapes. In the 70s, mixtapes were the ultimate labor of love.
Can you imagine sitting by the radio for hours, waiting for that one song to play so you could record it?
Fingers poised to hit record when the right song played.
This was the reality for music lovers in the 70s. Making a mixtape was not just a casual activity, it was an art form that required patience and dedication. In the 70s, you couldn't just click on a song and add it to a playlist. Oh no, you had to earn it.
And then there were the quirks of cassette tapes. Who can forget the infamous tangles and the trusty pencil fix?
Did you know that in the 70s, your underwear could also be your superhero costume?
Running around in your superhero underoos. Those weren't just undergarments. They were a key to a secret identity.
That's right, folks. We're talking about the superhero underoos phenomenon that took the 70s by storm.
A ticket to a world of make-believe. For the kids of the 70s, slipping on a pair of underoos bearing the emblem of Superman, Batman, or Wonder Woman was akin to donning a superhero's costume.
You're stepping into an identity, ready to take on the world with your superpowers.
Now imagine stepping into a record store.
The 1970s, a time of bell-bottom jeans, disco balls, and the intoxicating scent of vinyl. Record stores were more than just commercial establishments.
The 70s record store, it was a place where music lovers would converge, flipping through stacks of vinyl records, discovering new sounds.
They were the beating heart of the music scene, a sanctuary for music lovers.
The smell of the vinyl, the sound of a needle hitting the groove, the tactile joy of handling a record. These experiences made record stores a popological paradise. Hitchhiking was once considered groovy, believe it or not. Picture this: a dusty open road, a thumb outstretched, the thrill of the unknown. Hitchhiking in the 70s was a common sight, a testament to the camaraderie of the times. Yes, there were risks involved, but it was all part of the adventure, the spontaneity that made the open road so appealing. Now, let's shift gears and talk about grooming. The 70s were a time when men were unafraid to make a statement. Big hair, moustaches, sideburns, it was all part of the package. And let's not forget the liberal use of aftershave, the distinct aroma that defined the well-groomed man of the era. Whether it was a pair of bell-bottoms or a disco shirt left unbuttoned to reveal a hairy chest, bold fashion choices were inextricably linked with grooming. Grooming was a serious business in the 70s, coupled with bold fashion choices. Women had their signature products in the 70s, and let's not forget about them. Who could resist the lure of sunning? An easy way to get those sun-kissed highlights at home. It was all about the golden glow, no beach required. And talk about Love's Baby Soft, the scent that defined an era, a soft, powdery aroma that signalled youthful charm. It might be questionable today, but back then it was the sweet fragrance of innocence. Now let's switch gears to something that might seem bizarre to today's generation: no caller ID. That's right, folks. There was a time when you picked up the phone, without a clue who was on the other end. Can you imagine? A phone cord tangled around your arm, yelling across the house to announce who was calling. It was a time of spontaneous conversations, a far cry from today's times where a name and number flash on the screen before you even consider answering. No caller ID meant spontaneous conversations, a far cry from today's times. Capturing moments in the 70s required a Polaroid camera. Instant gratification was a rarity back then, but Polaroids brought it right to your fingertips. The thrill of watching a picture develop before your eyes, the anticipation as the image slowly came into focus. It was magical. There was a certain charm to each unique, unedited snapshot. And who could forget the ritualistic shake of the photo, a dance of hope for the perfect image? Transitioning from the magic of the Polaroid, let's wander into the vibrant kitchens of the 70s. Mushroom decor, a trend that might seem quirky today, was a staple in every home. From mushroom-adorned plates and mugs to curtains and wallpapers, the earthy aesthetic was impossible to ignore. It was more than just a design trend. It was a visual representation of the decade's love for nature and the psychedelic. Mushroom decor was all about the psychedelic charm of the 70s.
The 70s was a golden age for breakfast cereals, with brands like Captain Crunch, Lucky Charms, and Fruit Loops dominating the scene. Each box was a treasure trove, hiding a delightful toy surprise. These surprises were not just toys, but clever tools that influenced consumer behavior and marketing techniques. They added an element of suspense and delight to our breakfast, making each morning a new adventure. Opening a can in the 70s was an adventure in itself, involving the pulling back of a ring and peeling an aluminum tab. These tiny metal pieces were more than just can openers. They were symbols of a decade marked by change and innovation. But their legacy remains. Those discarded tabs, hazardous as they were, embodied the spirit of the 70s, a time of change, innovation, and a fair bit of fun. Each pull of the ring, each bend of the tab represented a step into a new era, an era of convenience and on-the-go living. But every coin has two sides. The flip side of these aluminum tabs was the hazard they posed. School lunches in the 70s weren't complete without a metal lunchbox and matching thermos. These weren't just containers for your PB&J and juice, oh no. These metal lunchboxes featured an array of designs, from popular TV shows and musicians to sports teams and superheroes. Were you a fan of Star Wars? You had a lunchbox with Luke Skywalker battling Darth Vader. Loved the Beatles? You carried around a lunchbox adorned with their iconic faces. The lunchbox was a badge of honor, a way to show off your coolness factor. It was a simpler time, a time when rust and dings added character to your lunchbox. The faint smell of metal warming in the sun, the sound of the clasp opening after a long morning. These were the little things that made the metal lunchbox era so special. So, Popologists, did we miss anything? The 70s were a time of simple pleasures, sugary surprises, and the joy of the everyday. We'd love for you to share your own memories or experiences from this truly unique decade. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to check out our other videos on YouTube, share the Popological love, hit subscribe, and thank you for tuning in to this groovy exploration of the 70s. Keep it poppin'.